Hello there, thrill seekers. And I got a thrilling episode for you today because I want to talk about kicks that just keep getting harder to find. Yeah, I know I talk about this subject a lot, but somebody got into a conversation with me on Twitter, the dreaded Twitter, about drugs and Buddhism, and I think I have a slightly different angle to talk about this time, so bear with me. Did you hear about the guy who went to who was driving up to the to hunt bears, and he came across a sign that said "bear left," and he went home? Okay, anyway, bear with me. Somebody said on Twitter, there should be a pill for instant samadhi. Some medication acting on opioid receptors numbs out the ego and stops internal dialogue, in parentheses, temporarily, making a visionary realm of consciousness available. Tibetan Buddhists also used some drug, maybe from Bon tradition. And in reply, I said, there will never be a pill for instant samadhi. Well, okay, maybe a pill could replicate the state, but it would not have anything like the same effect. I've written about this many times. I actually don't think a pill could replicate the state, but I'm going to talk about that in a sec. Anyway, the reply was, they always say that, but you'd have to have a test where the skilled practitioner knows both states, meditation and artificially induced. I'll just say that what I'm talking about is over the counter, not K. Kids use it, but it's not kid stuff. I guess this is the drug user code, the last couple of lines. And I replied that I am a skilled practitioner who knows both states, so I don't think this is possible. And the reply was, if an artificial state that takes 40 minutes to happen mimics the meditation state in all regards, what does that tell you? It's a reliable shortcut. There's an argument drugs came before yoga, soma in Rig Veda, etc. So, there's a lot to unpack there, and I didn't even continue the Twitter dialogue. Twitter is a terrible place to have a conversation. Really, so many people use it for conversations and think they're getting somewhere, but it's a joke. Don't do it. And I should know better than try. It's about once a year something comes up and I feel the need to reply it, or twice a year, 3 times a year. Anyway, Twitter is not a real place, as a great man once said. Okay, there should be a pill for instant samadhi. Some medication acting on opioid receptors numbs out the ego and stops internal dialogue. Well, something that acts on the opioid receptors and numbs out the ego and stops internal dialogue, I mean, they already got that. You know, antidepressants and oxycodone and those things, they kind of do that. I said you couldn't replicate the state. I mean, okay, let's think about what would be involved in trying to replicate the state of samadhi with a drug. You would have to study people in the state of samadhi and somehow work out what is going on in their brains, especially chemically if you're going to try to use a pill for it. Electrically, if you're going to try to use some sort of electrical stimulation to establish the state, I suppose you could do that too, but we're talking about pills here. Where would you get the volunteers to do that? And how would you measure it? And would you even know what you were measuring and what you were looking for? Those are huge questions, and I don't think anybody has an answer for it, and I can't imagine you would be able to get even close to an answer to those questions of what's going on chemically in the brains of somebody in the state of samadhi without decades or maybe even centuries of research. I've been involved in some of these studies. I talked about it on one of these videos a while ago. I went to a study in Georgia where they put some stuff on my body and measured my internal state, and then put me in a machine and measured, told me to try to meditate in that machine and try to figure out what's going on in my brain, looking at the MRI results. I don't think anything conclusive was ever found. Certainly nothing that would lend itself to making a pill out of. As far as the skilled practitioner who knows both states, I mean, I've done acid 4 times, and I think those psychedelics are probably as close as you're going to get to something that mimics a sort of awakening state. But the problem is these things aren't about states of mind. If artificial state that takes 40 minutes to happen mimics the meditation state in all regards, what does that tell you? Well, what I would say is there is no artificial state that takes 40 minutes to happen and mimics the meditation state. The problem is the thinking that there is some kind of special state that is enlightenment and it is different from other states. This is what the Zen tradition is all about refuting, especially within the Soto tradition. This is what Dogen is talking about when he says that sitting zazen is enlightenment itself. He means sitting zazen in any state, in absolutely any state, whether you're totally confused and everything's contradictory and you hate it and you're feeling awful and you feel like this is a whole big waste of time and whatnot. Even that state, according to Dogen, is enlightenment. So we're not looking for a special state. The other problem with those special states is they last for a certain time and they go away. Every state of mind lasts for a certain amount of time and goes away. Whether it's the enlightenment state or the state of orgasm or the boredom state or the enjoying the concert state or whatever else it is. Whatever state you have is going to last a certain amount of time and go away. So if your enlightenment is dependent upon a certain state of mind induced by chemicals, whether naturally or artificially, that's not what we're talking about in this practice, in the practice that I teach and that I've worked on for the last almost 40 years. It's not something that's dependent on a special state that's achieved either chemically, artificially, or naturally through a certain kind of practice or something. There's somebody singing over there. I don't know if it's coming through on the microphone, but it's kind of distracting me. One of the problems we have as a society, especially in these here United States, is a kind of worship of medicine and medication and the medical profession as being our saviors who will solve our problems. And they just never do. The opioid crisis that one of my friend's sons died from back in Akron, this is an example of how trying to solve a problem with medication just doesn't work. I would say that almost no problem can be solved with medication, especially mental difficulties. They can be, you can be helped, you can be aided, you can get to if you're a person who can't deal with normal life, sometimes these medications can help you adjust and kind of get settled enough, but they're really only a kind of a stopgap solution. I had a friend years ago who was studying neuroscience, and I remember hearing how some kind of medication for mental illness worked. And my comment at the time was, oh, it sounds like tuning a piano with a sledgehammer. I think my comment was a little overstated, but I still think the analogy is useful. It's maybe not like tuning a piano with a sledgehammer, but it might be like tuning a piano with a normal hammer. For whatever reasons, the right tool to do exactly the thing that you want is not available. So you're using a tool that, if you use it with enough skill to tune the piano, you use your hammer, you probably get that one string in tune. And if it's very, very, very important for you to have C sharp exactly in tune and you don't care what happens to the rest of the instrument, then okay, you can do it with the hammer. But you're going to throw other things out of tune along the way, and you're making a trade-off. You're making a trade-off between fixing the thing that you want to fix and all the damage that happens to everything else. And I have never heard of a medication yet that doesn't do that sort of thing, because you're operating on the whole person. So no matter what you do, it operates on the whole person. So the drug that you take to try to mimic the, what does he say, mimic the state of mimics the meditation state in all regards, isn't going to mimic the meditation state in all regards, because the meditation state in all regards is the whole life process it took to get you there. And this problem even predates our obsession with medication and fixing things through medical means. It's the problem of thinking that a certain state of mind, a certain special state of mind, is enlightenment, and that in order for enlightenment to happen, that special state has to happen. What we are looking for in Zen practice is how to find enlightenment within the most ordinary state, within the usual state, what Dogen called kajo, everyday mind. The everyday mind is what we're trying to find, and realizing that this everyday mind is enlightenment, that the special state you're looking for is already here, that the very fact that you can open your eyes and see the world is incredible. The very fact that you exist as a human being is amazing. The very fact that there's this planet here with life on it, and some of the life forms can talk to each other on Twitter about using drugs to find enlightenment, is amazing. And that is what we are missing. And if we try to use a drug to achieve a special state, all we do is achieve a special state. And a special state is, it's a ride on a roller coaster. If you go to Magic Mountain and ride on, the Thundercat, or I don't know what the roller coaster there is called, and the Speeding Comet, then you'll have a special state. But when the roller coaster ride is over, your special state is over, and all you have left is the memory of the special state. And the memory of the special state, it might be fun to reminisce about it, but it's not the same thing at all. And what we're working on is a lifetime of effort, and a lifetime of effort. You can't substitute a pill for a lifetime of effort. It doesn't matter what the pill is. It does not matter at all what the pill is. It is not a reliable shortcut. There are no reliable shortcuts. There are no shortcuts at all to practice. Practice is what it is, and it is your life, and it is your whole being involved in it. I don't know if I said anything different from what I always say about this. I thought when I started this I had something different to say, but you can be the judge of that. Anyway, maybe it's the first time hearing this for some of the audience, so that's fine. Anyway, that's all I got to say. If you want to support me doing all this research into drugs, you can do so by going to the URL you're seeing on the screen below, which is hardcorezen.info/donate. That is hardcorezen.info/donate. There you will find links to my PayPal and Patreon accounts. Those are my main ways of making a living, so I thank you for your support. But as always, this is offered for free, so you don't gotta pay if you don't want to pay. We will see you next time. Have a good time all the time. Laters, bisels. What do you think of that? What do you think of drugs? Do you want to be on doggy drugs? They got like doggy Prozac and stuff now. Maybe we can put you on doggy enlightenment pills. Maybe you can have doggy enlightenment. Would you like that? Would you like doggy enlightenment? Maybe you just want a treat. Alright, we'll talk to you later, Ziggy. Bye.